Juice. It's Miss Jill from the Cary Area Public Library, and today I'm here to show you two very fun Harry Potter treats to make. The first is going to be edible magic wands, and the second will be refreshing pumpkin juice. So we're going to gather all of our supplies, but first, as always, we're going to wash our hands with soap and water. Okay, so first we are going to start with making our magic wands. To make the wands, we're going to use pretzel rods, which I have broken in half to make it easier to handle for little witches and wizards. We are going to use 3 types of chocolate. I have milk chocolate, white chocolate, and butterscotch. I have some wax paper. I have a little bit of coconut oil, and we'll see how we use that in a moment. And I've got a spoon and a fork. Okay, so I've taken some wax paper and I put it on my plate here. I put my pretzel rods onto the plate. I'm gonna get ready with my first chocolate. I'm using the butterscotch first, and I'm just gonna put maybe like 1/4 of a teaspoon. It looks like this on the spoon. And I'm just gonna put that in to my chips. And then I am gonna make sure an adult is here to help me, and I'm gonna have them put this in the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then pull it out and check it and stir it a little bit, and if they need to put it back, stir it again until it's nice and melty for me to drizzle on my pretzels. Okay, so the chips are nice and melted. So what my adult would do would be to take it out, maybe let me stir it if they thought it was safe. They could hold this and I could stir like this, because it can get a little hot, and especially gets hotter near the bottom where the melted chocolate is. But up here it's not so bad, so I can hold on here nicely and stir till it's nice and smooth. And then I am gonna take it and just drizzle it over my wands like this. You can use as much or as little as you want. So you have 3 other chocolates to do too if you want. Just like a little bit more. And you just want to do like gently drizzle it. You don't want to fling it because you know, mom and dad might be not too happy if there's chocolate. This chocolate could go flying on the walls, on the ceiling, and as fun as chocolate on the walls and ceilings seem, it's not good in theory. But there we are. And next what you would do, again, you would just do the same thing with a tiny bit of oil if you wanted to drizzle it a little smoother, and use the other 2 chocolates if you want. And then when you're done, you can just take this whole plate and just pop it in the refrigerator to help the chocolate set up and harden. And I've done my other chocolate. I've let it rest in the refrigerator, and now we're ready for magically delicious wizard wands. All right, so now we are ready to make our pumpkin juice. And I've got all the supplies here. So the supplies you will need, we'll start over here. I have a blender. And if you don't have one of those, that is okay. Just make sure you chill your juice first if you don't have a blender. But I'm gonna use a blender for this. I'm gonna use some white grape juice. I'm gonna use some pineapple juice. I'm gonna use a can of just plain pumpkin. I'm gonna use some ground cinnamon. I will use 3 ice cubes, and some of the tools I have, again, were my blender. I'm gonna use some measuring cups to measure my 2 juices. I have a can opener, which my adult will help me to open my pumpkin. I have a spoon to scoop out my pumpkin, and I have a cup to pour my pumpkin juice in once it's blended. Okay, so on to our pumpkin juice. I am just finishing here. Your adult helper will help you with the can opener because these are very sharp parts right here. And this is also very sharp too. The tops of cans are super sharp, so never touch those. I'm gonna put that away so we don't hurt ourselves. Got the pumpkin open. It's nice and orange. We're gonna take a spoon and scoop out a big heaping teaspoon, and plop it right into the blender. I can set that aside now. The next thing we're gonna do is measure 1 cup of our white grape juice. You guys can practice pouring into the cup. You just want to go slow. And sometimes, especially when you get near the top, you do it right over the blender so any spills aren't going to go on the floor. They would just go into the blender. Okay, that's nice and full, and I'm just going to slowly tip it over to pour it in. Next, I'm going to get my pineapple juice and get my 1/2 cup. Since this one's smaller, I'm going to do that right away. I'm going to put it right over the blender and slowly pour my pineapple juice. And then slowly tip it over. Okay. Now I've got my cinnamon. We're going to use a pinch of cinnamon. And a pinch, it's not a very precise measurement, but I'll show you about what it looks like. Probably like that. There you go. And you can just, if you want, just boop. You do it like this a little bit, but sometimes it's actually safer to do it in your hand so you know how much you're putting in there. And you want to make sure that when you open your cinnamon, you have the little holes and that it's not wide open with a big hole and you get too much. So I'm just gonna brush that in. A little bit of cinnamon. Then I'm gonna take my 3 ice cubes, plop those in. Now I need my lid of my blender, and I'm gonna grab that was over here, and I'm gonna put that on really tight. So that is very important. You wanna make sure it's on good and tight, because once you start blending, if it's not on there, again, pumpkin juice on the walls and ceiling, no fun. Okay, and then we're gonna give it a whirl, and I'll show you what it looks like as soon as we're done. Okay, our pumpkin juice is done blending. And again, if you didn't have a blender, just chill your juice and then stir really good to stir in that pumpkin. We've got our magical wizard wands, and we are all set to have a nice little magical feast. I hope you had a fun time making these magical treats with me, and join me next time for another fun Little Kids in the Kitchen from the Cary Area Public Library.